Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another class in the 10-minute series. This class is 10 minutes of inversions. Inversions are any posture where your head is below your heart, so we're going to get upside down today. Just remember that these 10-minute classes can be used, or practiced, alone or in conjunction with a full practice. So that said, it's a very short warm up and cool down and all that stuff. So if you need that to feel prepared to go into these postures, please do that on your own. Just take a quick pause. Otherwise, we're just really going to focus on inversions. So if you have a block or two, you might want to have them handy. We're actually going to start today in a supported legs up the wall pose to do a little bit of breathing. So if you have a block, you can use it. If not, no worries, you can just do legs up the wall, but we're doing it without the wall, by the way. We'll be using the wall later, so if you're close to a wall or if you can get close to a wall, go for it. So lay down on your back. If you have a block, you can place it underneath your sacrum. Try to avoid having your block in the curve of your low back. Okay, you want it nice and supported here. Place your hands down on the floor, palms pressing down, and then you can lift your legs up toward the ceiling. And we're just gonna hold here. I'm just gonna reposition my block a little bit, so feel free to do that if you need to. Hold here, activating your core, activating your legs, getting your head below your heart, reversing the flow of blood. A couple more breaths. One at a time, release your feet down onto the floor. Lift your hips up, remove your block. Bring your feet a little bit wider than hip distance apart. Bring your arms to goal pose and just rock your legs side to side. One more time, to the right and to the left. Come back towards center, heel toe your feet back in, and then draw your knees in, give them a little squeeze here. Try to press your low back down onto your mat so your spine is long, you're getting a compression in your hips. And then 3 rocks along the length of your spine. And just one more little massage for your spinal cord and a little bit of warm up for your core, finding control there in your movements. Make your way onto your hands and knees. Just take a couple cat-cows, breathe in, come into cow pose, breathe out, come into cat. Again. And last one. All right, so go ahead and we're gonna start with a tripod position, working toward tripod headstand. If you want to already position your mat against the wall, that would be great. I'm not gonna do that quite yet. I'm gonna come to the wall in just a sec. So for your first tripod position, what you're going to want to do, triangle. You're going to want to make a triangle position with your head and your hands on your mat. So go ahead and bring the crown of your head down onto your mat, and then bring your hands so that they're underneath your elbows. And you have a nice crease in your wrists here. Tuck all 10 toes under, and then you're just going to lift your hips up and place your knees onto the backs of your elbows. So you can walk your feet a little bit in and then place your knees on your elbows. So maybe this is where you start today, finding a nice strong foundation in your tripod. If you want to take it a step further and start moving from this position, maybe you've done this class a couple times, you're ready to move on. You can hug your heels and your toes together And then lift your feet. Oops, my knee slid. Lift your feet up and in. And then maybe you hold this position, little tripod foundation. And once again, if you want to take it a step further, maybe you've gotten really comfortable in this position and you're ready either away from or against the wall, you can take your knees into a little ball position and then start to press your feet up toward the ceiling. Okay, so tripod is a nice inversion to get into because you can take it in these little bitty steps, especially coming into that ball position and pressing your feet up toward the ceiling. If you can, take it in reverse, bring your knees down into a little ball position, and then gently place them on your elbows or the backs of your arms. Take your feet to the floor, and then rock up off your hands and come into an embryo pose, all right? So hips to heels, rest your forehead now down on your mat and rest your arms alongside your body. This is a really nice position to give your neck some relief. You can just roll, feels so good. Roll your head side to side, releasing any tension or strain you feel in your neck. Okay, so that's tripod headstand. It might have been a headstand that if you were a kid, you were a little more familiar with. Traditional yoga headstand is on your forearms, and personally, and I think most people would agree with me, it's much better for your neck. So I would recommend practicing this headstand versus tripod headstand, but tripod, it's nice to kind of establish that foundation. It's a little more stable, in my opinion. So for our next headstand, we're gonna be using our forearms. You're gonna take your base, again, in a triangle position. So it's gonna look like this on your mat. You're gonna interlace your hands. You're gonna bring your elbows out so you have a nice triangle shape. Now, when you place your head between your hands, you're gonna wanna take your hands and make a cupped position so that you can cup around your head, okay? And I'm gonna show you now. All right, so find that position in your arms, bring your forearms down onto your mat, and again, cup your hands so you've got a little space here. Take the, not quite the very top of your head, but between your forehead and the top of your head, and place it on the mat. And then cup your head with your hands so you can feel your thumbs pressing into your skull. All right, a couple options here. You can tuck your toes under and lift your hips high. So it's kind of like a dolphin position with your head on the floor. Okay, so this is option number one that I'm gonna show you. You walk your right, I'm gonna start with my right foot forward, a little step, and then take a slight bend to that right leg. Left leg is gonna reach up toward the ceiling. This is if you have pretty open hamstrings, you can come into a splits position. And then you can start to lift your right foot to meet your left, okay? It's a challenging way to get into the posture and take some practice, but that's an option, okay? Obviously, you can do that on both sides. And in case you're trying it, and I'll just tell you this now, from that position, with a big kick up and a headstand, I don't know, maybe you'll be okay doing it, especially against a wall. But if you are kicking, it's more likely that you're gonna kick yourself up and over. So a nice slow ascent might give you a little more luck or a little more success. Okay, now option number two, similar to what we did in the tripod variation, you can tuck into a ball The difference here between this and tripod is there's no place to put your knees first, but you can tuck into a ball, bringing your hips or your heels toward your hips, your booty, and then press your feet toward the ceiling, holding here in headstand. And again, of course, you can practice this against the wall. Now, your forearms are down on your mat. This is why it's better for your neck. You can actually press into your forearms and take a significant amount of weight out of your head, or off of your head, and out of your neck. It takes strength in your shoulders. Again, you can descend the same way. If you're super comfortable in headstand and want to practice headstand, you can play with leg variations as well in your headstand, taking straddle or splits or eagle legs or tree legs. So play around with that. I'm going to take my mat to the wall. If you have a wall nearby, I would do the same if I were you. And we're going to do a little preparation for handstand now. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to have you do is to sit down with your legs extended out in front of you and your back against the wall. All right, so either visually or with your fingernail or something, just kind of mark where your feet are. And then you're just gonna turn around so that your feet are essentially in the same position and come to a standing position. So I'm just gonna real quick show you from this side against this wall, and then I'll come back to the other wall. You're gonna wanna make an L shape in your body. So we're preparing for L handstand. So from this position with your feet at hip distance apart, you're just gonna take your hands forward and just lean against the wall. You're gonna walk your hands down the wall. You can make any adjustments in your feet so that you have an L shape in your body. So I'm just gonna kind of observe my own body and try and get that position. Hips over ankles, shoulders in line with wrists, and then bring your ears by your biceps and actively press away from the wall, press into your feet, and hold here for another breath. This is reverse L handstand. So we're gonna take this position upside down, okay? So just take a moment, feel where your body is at in space, and we're gonna replicate this on our hands. Okay, so come back up, just press away from the wall. I'm gonna come back to my other wall now. So from where you were, you're now gonna keep your feet in the same position, but you're gonna face away from the wall, all right? So go ahead and bring your hands down toward your mat, to your mat, right in the position of your feet. Place your hands down and walk your feet back to the wall. So you're kind of like in a shortened downward dog stance. Okay, and you have a couple of options. You can walk your feet up into your L shape, or what I like to do is walk my feet past. So I'm gonna take my feet higher than my hips, okay? And then I'm gonna walk them down. I'm gonna make a little adjustment with my hands here so that I'm in an L shape upside down, okay? So press again into your hands, into your feet, let your head dangle, look back at the wall, building strength in your shoulders. Your shoulders should be over your wrists, okay? And then you can walk your feet back down to your mat. Take a quick little embryo pose here. Rest your forehead, give your arms a break. Okay, come all the way back up. Now we're gonna move into handstand. All right, so I'm going to kind of direct you into handstand from downward dog position. It's not the only way to get there, but that's how I'm gonna show you today. So now if you're gonna use the wall, turn around. face the wall. Bring your hands about maybe 2 inches from the wall, maybe a little bit. You can make the adjustment as needed. And of course, in downward dog position, you want them at shoulder distance apart. Okay, so come into your downward facing dog. Now the key to handstand is to first position your shoulders over your wrists. So I'm going to shorten my down dog even more, maybe a foot step in. My shoulders still are not over my wrists, and that's fine. I'm going to kick up with my left leg first. It doesn't matter which one you do. Okay, so look at your hands first. Position your shoulders over your hands. Make sure your head's not touching the wall. Okay, you're going to start to bend your right leg and then kick up with your left leg. So you can practice as many kicks as you want. And I like to, for a good practice, to keep that right leg bent as you hop up. Okay, but the key is this whole time, shoulders over wrists. Maybe you kick all the way up. Hold here, try to avoid arching your low back. So imagine mountain pose, upside down. Okay, and you're gonna wanna practice that on both feet. Then I'm just gonna quickly show you from this side that position, shoulders over wrists. I recommend practicing that first and foremost. So in this shortened downward dog position, my shoulders are still not over my wrists. But when I start to kick up, my shoulders come here, okay? Here. And practice that. And then come into embryo pose. Rest your forehead down. Those handstand kick-ups will get your heart rate up a little bit, so slow your breathing down. Come all the way up. Clasp your hands and just give your wrists a couple of rolls. Make your way down onto your back. Hug your knees into your chest. Take a big breath in. And release. Enjoy your Shavasana for as long as you have time for today. Thanks so much for joining me and getting upside down. Today as you go forward, may you have peace in your thoughts, peace in your words, peace in your heart. From my heart to yours, namaste.